welcome to another episode of Running the Wasatch 100. I am coming to you from Big Mountain Pass, and we're doing our first course preview of the Wasatch course. And here comes ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding. We've got our runners coming down. This is the aid station. This is where the aid station is going to be. This is where you need to make sure that you are hydrated. All right, here's a couple Wasatch vets, Mark Robbins and Craig Lloyd.
So this is me. This aid station is the aid station that makes or breaks your race. The whole thing, and here's why. You hit this aid station, and it's actually getting hot, like quite hot. And a lot of people make the mistake of hurrying through this aid station because they just want to get to lambs. And so they tend to push through faster than they should. So the key about Big Mountain is you never leave this aid station hot. You have to cool down. Have to. Take extra water.
Yeah, I'd echo. And then one thing that happens to me here is this is the first place I get to see my crew. So I get kind of jazzed up, which puts me fast. And if I don't slow down and like almost have a checklist of things that I want here, it can get ugly.
Yeah.
So ice, I leave here with lots of ice.
There's always a bunch of people watching, cheering. You get super hyped up, and then you bail unprepared.
All right, so this is super green in here. It's never this green. We are just in less than a half mile in from Big Mountain Pass. So Mark, what are your feelings on this section? All the times you've run it, if you can just give us some of your thoughts.
I would say, so what's the mileage at Big Mountain now? It's like
33.
So you're 55K in. You're already starting to get hot from sessions to Big Mountain because you got no aid in between there. This section is the notoriously hard section of the course. I would say 9 out of 10 runners, this will be the worst part of their race. You're not going to feel good. You're going to maybe be pukey. I've never not puked in this section. It's hot. Good news is you can pick up a pacer. Scott, you paced me in this section last year, but it's kind of, for me, never not been a death march to lambs. So the critical thing is to just know that these 15 miles are a little bit of the struggle bus miles. They're requisite to get to the finish, but they're hard and slower. And there's going to be times where you think, okay, my race is probably going to be done early in this section. Don't marry yourself to that thought, because you'll get through that. Lambs and deso and up the trail, that rebound will happen. But this is a typical low for people. So embrace it, have fun with it, thank it, because it's what's going to make the race worth it at the end.
Yeah, do not decide to quit on this section, because I can tell you that you will come back. Greg?
Yeah, I want to add to that, and part of the reason why when you get here, you're already kind of hammered. You have to understand that you might be 33 miles in at this point, and it doesn't sound like a long way, but you've already done close to 8,000 vert. Like, that 33 miles is hard, and that's the beginning. So when you get here, you're probably 7 hours in for the average runner, right? Like, that's a long time. 8 hours maybe.
I'll be 2 hours behind that too, like,
Yeah,
as the
like,
back of the packer.
Like, you gotta understand, like, you get here, you've done a big day already. And now it's just getting hot. So that's, I think, a lot of the reason that this is so hard, other than it's the lowest part of the course, and you're hitting it in the middle of the day.
All right.
So this part of the course, we're not even a mile in from the aid station. And this is really the first time when you look out and you see the peaks on the Cottonwood Ridge and the Alpine Ridge, and it's the first time you realize, I've got to go over that. Like, and it looks so far away, but
Yeah.
from here to there is about 30 miles. That's the next third of the course.
Yeah.
I'd say one vowel will change your race right here, and that's changing the O to the E in got. Like, instead of I've got to go over that, it's I get to go over that.
Yeah.
And really, this is where you got to start exercising your brain muscles into just going to be okay. I signed up for a long race. It's not going to get short by me wanting it to.
Yeah. We're 1.5 miles in, and this is kind of mind-blowing up here.
It won't look like this on race day.
No, it will not look like this.
It's so pretty. So right here, at about 2 miles in, doesn't matter how much you've trained on the course, doesn't matter how many times you've paced it or run it, everybody forgets about this climb.
Oh, yeah.
It's short, and it's not hard until you're on race day. And then for some reason, it just sucks.
Yeah, it always does.
So be prepared. There's a little, like, we're not quite on it yet. It'll pop up here in a minute. It's just a hard climb. And it's like, I don't know, 1/4 mile long.
Oh, it's always hard.
I guess it's up in front of us a little ways, but it's tough.
And you were newer, like this probably back in 14. Tried to run a Wasatch. That is, dude.
I got that on camera.
Just stood up too
That's
quick.
about to be way funnier.
I had him by the hips.
I almost got snared.
From the back or the front? Because I was staring from the
Well,
rear.
the story I was going to tell was I was telling Craig Hall, I was like, dude,
That climb.
yeah,
Like, it's a hard climb. Look at it. That thing's big. Anyway, Craig Hall.
so I was telling him, his version of the story is, I know the trails like the back of my hand, is what I said. And I said, in my version, I said, I've run this so many times, I can do like a virtual flyover of the trail. And literally, probably 10 feet before where I just tripped,
Yeah,
I had the worst face plant on my entire run.
That was fitting.
I know every rock and root except that one.
I don't even know if I finished the sentence, but I had like pine dirt. One thing that I feel is like really important is to run your race. People say that. It's kind of a cliche in our sport, but this hill is a really good example of steep climbs are not my forte. I'm just not great at them. So I'm not going to try and be Craig or Scott on this climb. I'm going to try and take it nice and easy, pace myself, and when I get to the top, I'm going to try and go a little bit. But I can't try and push myself here or it'll be detrimental.
Well,
down
and
the
right
line.
here, every time I've done this race, this climb right here is horrendous. I'm always just slogging right here.
It's a beat down for
So,
sure.
yeah.
But I'll actually back off even what I feel like I'm capable of to save legs for later.
Yeah.
Making investments in the bank.
Agreed.
Okay, we're 3 miles in, and we had a little climb. We're dropping here, and we'll drop, it'll flatten out, and then we're gonna have to climb again up to Baldy. So in Utah, we've got several Baldy mountains. Really original, but anyway, this is my favorite Baldy that we're coming up on here on the Wasatch course. All right, so we're coming out of the trees. We're about 3.5 miles in. We've gone up over 900 feet. The crazy thing is, we're at like 53 minutes in. And, you know, we've been doing a pretty solid pace. We have stopped to do some filming, but, you know, when you look at this on a course preview, and you're like, oh, this section's only, what is it, 14 to 15 miles. Then in your training, you're thinking, well, I cover that pretty quick. But the reality of it is, this section's gonna take you longer than you think. So we're coming up to Mount Baldy. Got a nice breeze. It's actually a cooler day, which is nice, but it will be heating up later. But the likelihood of it being a cooler day at Wasatch, not very likely. Coming to the top of Baldy. Got the reservoir down here. That's where some of your family members will be waiting. And then you can see where we've come, way in the distance there, Big Mountain Pass. So like a lot of the trails at Wasatch, the descent off of Baldy, you can tell it's super rocky, it's rutted. It's just not an amazing track. And you're gonna see this quite often throughout the course, and you'll be wondering why they pick these lovely single track trails. But really, that's what makes Wasatch. Here was pacing Mark through this section, and Mark told me he had to lay down, and said he wanted to lay down for 15 minutes. And here's a good pacer trick. He was asleep within 10 seconds. And I gave him about 2.5 to 3 minutes. And then I was like, sweetheart, that's exactly what you did. It's time to go. And actually, he got up.
All right, let's go.
And he actually felt refreshed. So,
Don't do that though. Don't
we are just a hair over 5 miles in, 1 hour and 26 minutes. We're about to get to the turnoff, where in the past, some folks have missed the turn, including the leader of the race one year. But it's usually really well marked. But usually mentally for me, it's like, okay, I've got through that first section of this hellscape, and there's a little bit of a descent coming up. And here we are.
That looks natural, this does not.
Yeah, it actually, they mark it really well, but oh, it's really overgrown this year. And we are coming up on Bearing Hill. Not Bob or Ball, but Baugh. B-A-U-G-H, I believe, named after someone that had a really miserable experience going down the hill. Okay, we're going down the infamous Bearing Hill. As you can see, it's super rocky, it's rutted, it's steep, and you're gonna have about close to 40 miles on your legs. You're gonna be hot, exhausted, tired, probably cursing, and you're gonna come down this and you will probably say a few words that, you know, say your best ones, save your best ones. Flip, freak, fetch, fudge, yeah, this thing is, it's not pleasant to run down on fresh legs. Whoa, Burgermeister, Fuddruckers, Filibusters, Funschensteinen, Huckelboppers. Whoa, shoot. Okay, we lost Mark. This is actually some of the worst of it right here. Oh my goodness. Just imagine it being really hot and dry here. You know, you'll have to get on this. But anyway, Mr. Baugh our respects. Enjoy. We're just under 6 miles in. The trail has been overgrown for the last half mile. It's just been pretty much a disaster. I feel like I'm at the day spa getting exfoliated. But anyway, hopefully by race day there's some trail work done, but you know, you never know.
Plan on overgrowth.
There's going to be some overgrowth.
There will be rocks and roots that you don't see.
Yeah, for sure. Mark and I have both tripped a few times already. And we got fresh legs. About 6.2 in, just came out of the trees, out of the foliage. How do you say foliage?
Yeah.
Foliage?
Yeah.
Foliage, okay. And this is a deceptive part every year for me. Mark said the same thing for him. Craig, you?
Yes.
Okay. You're about 6.2 in and you think the aid station, I always have 7 in my mind, but in reality it's closer to 8. But now that they've moved it, it's even further. So you think that you're almost there, but really, and you're like, oh, downhill, I'm almost there, but you've got all these rollers. Mark, take it away.
I mean, you can see where we have to go. That light green patch down there is where we're headed. And so the mileage on your watch, or however you're tracking it, that's just the mileage. It looks right there, it's not. So stick with your mileage on your watch. Nothing is as far as it looks. So, I mean, we're going to be there in 5 minutes. We're going to be there in 12 minutes. We're going to be there in 22 minutes. Huh?
What you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm not saying do that. I'm just saying don't let your brain think it's too far, because it's never as far as it looks.
Oh, yeah. True.
Agreed. About 6.9 in. Got a great view of the reservoir, and you can actually get a really good view now of the freeway where the aid station actually is. Okay, we're 7.7 in, and this, in the old days, before a couple years ago, right down here was the old aid station at Alexander Springs, and it's now moved, which we'll show. But this is always a sight that you just are incredibly happy to see. And we're 2 hours and 13 minutes in, and you know, relatively fresh legs. We have stopped a little bit to film, and there's been some overgrowth, but we've been moving pretty well, and that's how long it's still taken us to get to this point. 13. Okay, this is where the old aid station used to be. You now come down here, you've got this long road to go down, and you can see the road down below, and you'll just run this kind of steeper descent, but it goes quick all the way down to where the aid station is, right next to the road. All right, you'll be coming down this road, coming off of the connector trail from the old aid station to the new aid station. Here we go. Ding it, 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 ding it. Woo!
Probably not allowed this year.
Woo!
Let's in and out this. I feel pretty good.
Okay, this is the new turn up onto the pipeline trail, which I'm gonna say is not amazing.
So where do they put the aid station? Okay, so it's right when you come off of there.
So you go up this for...
Feels like 2 miles.
It feels like it until you meet up with the old trail. So this pipeline trail's got a lot of these little grunts. They're just these climbs that, you know, they're not horrible like right now, but on race day, they can suck it out of you. Just be mentally prepared to grind. Okay, so this is where you're gonna turn. I have seen runners miss this, by the way. It gets flat, you can see how it flattens out, and you'll have the turn right here. It'll be marked. You'll want to be looking for this. Like I said, I've seen runners actually keep right on going up that hill.
And then right here is short but stout.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a grunt. But once you get through it, it's all mostly downhill to Lambs Canyon. And the trail has been so overgrown. It's incredible how much growth there is this year. So you'll come out of here and then it'll hang a right and have some nice single track all the way to the aid station at Lambs Canyon. Coming down this single track, look down there, because you're gonna have to go, you're going this way, you're heading toward the aid station, and then you're gonna cut back and go the other way, and it can be a little demoralizing, but I usually run this section right here, very runnable. After coming through that nasty section, it's always nice to get on some single track that you can run. And unlike these guys who are walking and they're only 12 miles in. But it is really hot. The temperature got a lot hotter and it's humid. Unlike Salt Lake City weather normally, but it's kind of humid today. All right, so this is the section we were looking at where we have to come all the way back to here. So we came off of that hill. Now we're gonna turn back and we're getting closer to the freeways, you can see, and getting a little bit closer to the aid station. So right here we'll make the cut and start heading back to the aid station. All right, check out this overgrowth. This section, of course, they usually mark it pretty well, but you still want to keep your eyes open because I have missed a turn before. So there is a spot coming up where we have to turn off of this little trail, and you know, there's a branch that goes off, so you can just make sure you're paying attention and looking for the flagging. All right, so we are about to pop out of the bush, the heavy overgrown bush.
Out of the bush, Mike.
And we're coming up to where the Lambs Canyon aid station is up here, and you're going to be hearing the crowds go wild, the cowbell. You're going to get a burst of adrenaline, so much so that you'll still probably hike up the hill, and that's okay. Sometimes I run up the hill, which is probably stupid, but anyway, this is the section. It got really hot. We're all a little bit hot. I'll say this section, we're coming in at 3 hours and 50 minutes. Now we didn't do the additional add-on that we showed by the road, so take that for what it's worth, but it's still a tough section. Very hard, very tough. Any thoughts, gentlemen, on the day and the section?
Great day getting out with you boys.
Skip it. Take an Uber.
There is a shortcut. Have your crew drive you around to the, no. I mean, that's why you run 100, is to do the hard stuff as much as the easy stuff. So embrace that last section and have some fun with it.
Yeah, if you get to Lambs, I say everybody that gets to Lambs, everybody coming into Lambs is dehydrated. Everybody. Take at least, no matter how fast you're going, take a minute, cool yourself down, make sure you're cool off leaving, and hydrate. And everybody have a great race. See you soon.
Hey, that's Craig. You were just saying something. I know we're signing off, but there's going to be a big old crowd of people here.
Right here.
So feed off that energy too coming into this aid station.
Yeah, let them motivate you to like build back up whatever's been broken over the last 15 miles. This is the spot where the crowd will really pump you up.
And you get to go right into the heart of the Wasatch after this. So job well done. Go have fun.
And here you come up to the aid.
Grab that tiny ass.
Good job at this adult foot race.
Here we are, aid station.
Is that a 5K?
It's a 5K times
5K marathon.
Yeah. Ragnar. Do you run Ragnar?
So who's running this lake for you guys?
guys, has this ever happened to you?
Yes.
Someone says, oh, you run the Wasatch 100?
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah. And then they're like, oh, I've got a cousin that runs Ragnar's.
My sister ran that with her friends.
My nephew runs Ragnar's.
Yeah.
How many
Yeah.
people were on your team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much do you sleep?
I just let it slide. I let it
Yeah,
go.
me too.